also interesting study that I'll quote, is another one in which more kind of heavy-duty aggressive pornography was shown, and that when the people who had looked at it were asked their attitudes towards a particular rape scenario and a rapist, they were less inclined to believe the woman that she had in fact been raped when she had been raped. They were less inclined to convict the perpetrator, and they were more inclined to give him a shorter sentence. So my point about that kind of study is to illustrate that in a world in which we live where violence against women is real, I mean, it's so real that 93% of women will experience some kind of form of sexual abuse, whether it's sexual harassment, sexual violence, battery, attempted rape, attempted battery. 93% is a huge amount. And my project is to try to make that number go down. Now, I just want to say about that number that just because there's 93% of women who are abused doesn't mean that 93% of men are abusers. So I just want to assure you of that. However, it doesn't mean that all the abusers are going from from Vancouver to Winnipeg to Toronto and doing all the abuse. So we do have a problem out there. And my point is that as long as pornography is proliferating, then we're not going to be able to do anything about violence against women. Now, when people say to me, well, if you don't like censorship, what do you think we should do about the problem? So I want to talk to you a little bit about what I think we should do. First, do what you can to make sure women are seen as complete human beings, and pornography does not do that. Work for women's equality, especially its economic equality, because that's the major reason, one of the major reasons why women go into the business of pornography in the first place. People are always talking about how all women, it's all choice, that women are happy and just running into the pornography industry. Well, my feeling is that if we were all making 100% on the male dollar, in other words, we make 60 cents on the male dollar, still, and if we had equal pay, and if we had as many choices, we live in a culture where the only professions in which women make more money than men doing the same work are modeling and prostitution. I think that says a lot about how we're valued in this culture. So I'm into working for women's equality. My question? I think we should be fighting like hell for sex education, and that's one way in which Ron and I are in agreement. We think that it's important to have open and honest discussion of sexuality early and often. I also think that it's very important to do everything that we can do to end violence against women, and I want to make this point strongly. Studies show quite clearly that women who are in conditions of prostitution, which by the way are required to create pornography, because the sex industry is just one step below being in pornography. So a lot of women who are in conditions of prostitution are there because they're escaping child sexual abuse. They go back out in the street where it's, I guess it's better to be, pimped out by somebody closer to your own age, get good drugs, than, waiting for the door to open in your bedroom for somebody to come in and sexually abuse you. It's better to be out on the street selling sex than having your sexuality stolen from you. And then it's better to be in pornography than to be tricking out on the street. So in a way, you can see how child sexual abuse is really, really tied to the pornography itself, and that's one of the reasons why I'm committed to end. That's why I have a problem with just looking at pornography as if the women in it aren't real people, as if they don't have lives, as if they don't have souls, and as if we have a right to get sexual pleasure based on their exploitation. And that's what I'm asking you to think about tonight, is where the ethical base is for the consumption of pornography, off the backs, literally, of women, children, and even the men in it. I also think that a lot of us are so into thinking that it's not going to happen. You think that it's not having an effect on you. And if you think that looking at this stuff is having no influence on you, I really very strongly think that you're kidding yourselves. Now, moderator mentioned that I had done a lot of anti-pornography speeches and debates in the past, and 25 years ago when I went out, I can't remember, maybe, yeah, I guess it was that one. When I went out across this country to talk about pornography, I didn't have to tell women who were in the audience what the problem was with pornography. And what's really interesting to me in 2007 is how many more women I've encountered who are into it and defending it. And it's really given me some thought. It really made me think about what's going on. And I think I understand what it is. I think that what it's about is that women, and I just love that it's happening, really want the heat. You really want to have it. I mean, there was a time when women and sexuality didn't even go together. It wasn't even considered a possibility. So there's something thrilling about the fact that women, young women in this day and age, want to be sexual and want to have some control over their sexuality. So that part of it is good. I also understand that if you have to choose between that damn dichotomy that we're faced with, which is, well, I can either be the virgin or I can either be the whore. I get why you choose being the whore, believe me. I really do. So my question to you is, when and how are we going to find a sexuality that's authentic, that's real, that's not plastic, that's not pimped to you by pornographers who are making millions and millions and millions of dollars off your desire to find something real and sexual in your life? So I urge you to keep looking for it. I just don't believe that you're going to be finding it in pornography. And to all of you, I just have to say that it's my fervent hope that sometime in your lives you will get that the most important thing in the world isn't that blood rushes to that muscle of yours, that there's other things to be considering. And I actually do believe that there will become a time when I'm really hoping that you will be able to undo the influence that this stuff is having on you, and that sometime you will actually make a real connection. Not that I'm not into recreational sex, so don't get me wrong. You don't have to wait till you're married. Please don't wait till you're married. You will have an authentic, real sense of connection. And you'll say to yourself, oh, yeah, that's what she was talking about. I was at the Reggie University and this woman was rambling on about this stuff. I thought she was crazy, but then you'll realize that I'm right.